Pushing okay.
Say when. Are we live?
You are.
Are we live? Are we live?
We are live.
Hey, Eric. We make some coffee?
Yes.
First things first. Hello, everybody. We had the chat. Now it's disappeared.
Oh, it's behind the window.
Hey! Hello, Ricardo. Yes, I'm having a marvelous day. Greetings from Brazil. Hello! Hello, we see you. Hey, Alex. Hey, Mark. This is fantastic. I love it. Sorry we're a few minutes late. It's entirely 100% my fault. And yes, Eric is getting coffee ready. Hello! Wow! Can you get a coffee too? Yeah, it's going to be shipped out FedEx. Should be there by Wednesday of next week. It might be a little cold and you'll probably have to heat it up. Cologne, Egypt, Germany, Chicago, Switzerland. Wow, this is so fantastic. Toronto, India, Norway, Denmark. Oh, you like the new screenshot? You know what, I'm not looking at what it looks like. Oh yes, fantastic. So let's try and sit more centrally. So just so you know, because I get asked, we might as well talk about it. First of all, and most importantly, are the sideburns and the hair looking good today? Because, you know, that seems to be the number one consistent conversation. I had somebody the other day leave a comment, you know, a great trolling comment. It was like, get rid of those ridiculous sideburns. I kind of like my ridiculous sideburns. I've had them my whole life. Do you like my ridiculous sideburns? Thank you. And I'm getting David Hasselhoff at the moment. David Hasselhoff. I've had Shaking Stevens, Elvis, and now I'm getting David Hasselhoff. Yay! All right, so hello there in Poland. Hello, hot in Chesterfield, lovely. Austria, sorry, yes, beautiful. Okay, Worcester. I'm the English Elvis. Well, thank you ever so much. So, quick synopsis, breakdown. This is an SSL. It is a weird contraption because it's actually an SSL 6000, a 6K, but it has, sorry, start again. It's a 4K frame, a 40 channel 4K frame loaded with a combination of, well, basically 6,000 channels. The channels came from The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, and I know this because Bruce Millett installed not just this console, but the original Johnny Carson console, and he knew, and so, you know, he installed it and all that kind of stuff. Then we have, speaker-wise, we have a combination of Genelec 1032s and Unity Super Rocks, both which are absolutely phenomenal. On the, when we're working and we're editing and doing small mixing stuff, we have a pair of iLouds, which are sitting here. I know it's hard to see from this camera view, but I'm sitting in front of the screen, and we have the keyboard here for editing, and we have the iLouds here for monitoring. So when people ask, like, how do you edit and mix and all that kind of stuff? Well, that's how we do it, because the speakers are in front of us on the screen. Now, behind that, we actually have a pair of the little baby Genelecs as well. So anyway, just so I clear up a lot of that stuff. Over there is a tape machine, and we do have a 2-inch tape machine. The walls are adorned with a collection of all kinds of random guitars. As you know, I'm a big fan of Yamaha because they're kind of the people's guitar, aren't they? They're like super well-made, incredibly affordable, and you know, a big part of Produce Like a Pro, and a big part of what we do is to help people make music. So what does that mean? That means I look out for things like the little Audient ID4, which we are using at this moment. Hopefully I didn't just cut out all the audio. We like this. We like this because it sounds good. I really like the mic pre's. When we do the one mic shootouts, you know, not shootouts, but the one mic songs, we'll use the ID4. When I mix in the box, we use the ID4. So I want people to know, I want you to know that you can do great music with affordable equipment. And I have it all. I am blessed. I have tape machines, I have SSL consoles, I have loads of outboard, and I also have an Audient ID4 and Lewitt and other inexpensive mics. So trust me, I am trying my best to connect the dots. The whole point of Produce Like a Pro is to connect the dots between you know, I've made Aerosmith, Frey, James Blunt, you name it records, you know, connect that. Ace Frehley's a new album. Rick Springfield's last. I've done it all, and want to connect the dots between Gavin James. Just worked with Conrad Saul. You know Conrad from Kygo. Gavin James also did some stuff with Kygo. So I've worked with like these modern and legacy artists, and then with independent artists. So we got the lots of expensive gear, all the way down to the beginner stuff, and we're at the best time of making music because with the beginner stuff, the entry level stuff, like the little audio and stuff, you can now. It's so beautiful, make amazing music of all kinds of pieces of equipment. And every day I go out of my way to prove it. You know, whether it be my $200 Pacifica guitar, which my daughter put the sticker on, whether it be the $200 eBay purchase or a Gibson Les Paul Gold Top. Doesn't matter what I use, you can make great music. Anyway, so what are we here to talk about? Bum, 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 bum. Mixing low end. Okay, so I've been seeing a big proliferation of videos on this subject. I think part of the thing is that it becomes a big discussion. We'll post a video, we'll post in the forum, you know, our forum, and we'll post on our Facebook, and a lot of people started talking about it, and then there's a lot of like videos that spring off that, and it's always wonderful to see all these like up and coming people doing their own videos and you know, having their theories on how to make things sound great. So what I really wanted to do was like focus in heavily to do this. I think number one and most importantly, and it's really important, is that when you're working with organic, mic'd up, recorded instruments like real drums and real bass guitars, that you can't apply 100% the same principles as you would with virtual. The great thing about virtual instruments is if you've got a virtual bass or virtual drums, is they are so much more even. Because it's not only just about like how hard a drummer hits, it's about how well he hits or she hits. Let's be honest, it's like when you're using Trigger and Easy Drummer and Addictive, and you know, which I know I use and love, when you're using that, you're not just dealing with dynamics, because you know, you can play in a relatively dynamic, you're also dealing with the fact that when a drummer plays, he or she might not hit the rim one hit, or hit the rim the other hit, or hit it slightly too soft and not get any tone out of it, or hit it so hard that it distorts. These aren't issues that you face when you use virtual instruments. So you have to be very careful when you're watching those videos that are just talking and using like, you know, very controlled stuff. It's not like that. That's the reason why you'll find that a lot of us use multi-band compressors on bass guitars in particular, and dynamic compressors, dynamic EQs. The reason why we do that is specifically to control the low end, because when a bass player plays, it's not like a virtual bass line. It's not like a synth line. When a bass player plays and he or she hits too hard, the bass will fret out. Let me show you. Here's a bass guitar. This is this beautiful new BB I got from Yamaha. You hear that? You hear this? So when I'm playing softly, it's got a nice sustain. It's very quiet. Play hard. Okay, it's louder, but the low end disappears. So when you're playing like, it's not the same as going. So you get my point. Within one bass performance, you can be. Listen to the difference, even through that little tiny microphone. The low end is better when you're playing softer. So there's lots to understand. And when I got asked from yesterday's video, I want to address some of the questions from yesterday. Why we use multiband compression? We're using multiband for those kind of ideas, because when you're dealing with a live bass guitar, you're dealing with so much more dynamic range and performance stuff than you are when you use, you know, virtual bass or virtual drums. So this is really important to remember. Listen to the sustain. Okay, so let's go through here and have a look at some of these questions as well. Who won the mic? We send out emails to who won. There's actually a lot of mics that are going up. First time your live stream. Bought my gear, started home studio. Suggestions. Warren may want to check out recording for under 500 to get yourself started. I am doing marvelously well. Is everybody else doing marvelously well? So, a couple of things which would be absolutely fantastic is can you all tell me where you're from? I love knowing you're all from. Female drummer? There's loads of female drummers. We always set the levels. I don't let the assistant do it. When I go to Sunset Sound, where I've worked 100 times before, they will set up the console like I use it every single time because I've been in Sunset Sound. So there is definitely part of the process. That console over there is set up for me playing drums, and then we have to adjust it when another drummer comes in. Because those of you who watch me play drums, this is how I play drums. When a great drummer like Matt Starr comes in, it's like, he's so much more even and dynamic than I am that we have to adjust all the levels. To me, it's important. All right, Canada, Detroit, New Mexico, Florida, West Midlands, holy cow, I don't know where that is, Toronto, Brazil, Copenhagen, Czech Republic, Montreal, Germany, worldwide, well, that's lovely. Ireland, Netherlands, Brazil, Austria, Argentina. That's amazing. Somebody's asking about analysing the frequency response of the weekend. I'd have to do that at another time. Yes, can you hear the percolating coffee in the background? So you use virtual drums. Do you understand what I'm talking about? This is stuff that's very, very important because I've seen videos and they're only using virtual instruments to show you how to EQ and compress. And the problem is like that is like scraping the surface when it comes to live instruments. Now, if you're only going to use very controlled sampled sounds, you're going to find that actually most of those controlled sampled sounds don't need that much EQ or compression applied to it. So where somebody's demonstrating EQing a kit, a lot of that has already been done in the samples. They EQ, compress the samples to a level where they're already like 90% of the way there. So every single one of those hits is really, really even. Now, when it comes to you mixing your own recorded drums and bass, there's a lot more work that has to go into it. With yesterday's video, I showed you, in my video at least, and then we had, of course, Oryx and Bob's, I showed you some of the fundamental things that you can do with that one particular song. As a couple of people pointed out, totally understand, is like, that's not the same with every song. It is true that the kick drum's fundamental kind of like oomph in rock and roll lives between like 40 and 60. That's where it's really kind of happening. With bass guitar, you do want some 60, but fundamentally, a lot of the warmth can be in the sort of 80 to 100 area. So you get a lot of build up on the kick. Now, none of these things are absolute, but if you download my cheat sheet, which Matt is going to obviously put a link up now, if you download yesterday's cheat sheet, it will give you a really, really good opportunity. We didn't manage to get milk in the last 4 days. Yeah, grab some from inside.
I'm gonna need your keys.
It's one of these ones. He's going to grab me some almond milk or something like that. I think it's that one or one that looks like it. So, yes, there's lots of people from South America. It's wonderful to have you here. So please, if you haven't already, download the cheat sheet. I'm sure Matt is, as we're speaking, putting it up here and also underneath today's video. I'd love to do the AC/DC drum tones. I can tell you a couple of secrets while we're here talking about AC/DC. Dave Jordan and I talked about this at length. So one of the things about the AC/DC and a lot of the drum sounds of the mid-late 70s, we're not talking about more modern AC/DC, we're not talking about Back in Black, we're talking about probably Highway to Hell, which actually is my favorite drum sound. Highway to Hell and before, and a lot of the classic drum sounds of the mid-70s. They relied on EQ points, especially when recorded in UK, specifically England, London. They relied on the EQ points of a Neve. So what does that mean? That means that when you're on a 1073, you'll see that there's two very sweet areas of a 1073, and that is 110 hertz and 220. And on a kick drum, it is 60. And for the cuts, so the point is like what you're doing is you're looking at, thank you, you're looking at using EQ points that were fixed points on a Neve. So what does that mean for all of you when it comes to cutting and boosting EQ and trying to get those classic drum sounds? It means open up, you know, if you've got UAD, use UAD's Neve emulators. If you've got Stephen Slate's package, go to his British channels, and they're the grey-blue ones that obviously look like Neves, and go there and find those classic EQ points. So when you've got your drum sound and you want it to feel like a classic 70s drum sound, and you want that, you're boosting those frequencies. Rupert Neve designed those frequencies to be done in octaves and to be very musical. So they're great places to start from. 60 hertz boost. A 110 is really nice on a bass. A 220 is really nice on the low end of guitars. These are musical things that you'll start to hear. You can train your ears. It's a good starting place with EQ is to look at a classic Neve 1073 or 1081 EQ point. Does that make sense to you all? Are you hearing what I'm talking about? V collection waves as well. Exactly. Waves do it. Slate do it. You know, go there and look at the classic Neve stuff. It's a starting point. I'm not saying it's the only way to go, but it will help you out, because bear in mind, before the wonderful world of SSLs, a lot of the records that we grew up listening to from the late 60s all the way through the 70s were often, not always, but often done on primarily Neves and then a lot on APIs. So what does that mean? It means if you want to get those classic drum sounds, those classic guitar sounds, those classic bass guitar sounds, those classic vocals, you can use the EQ points that were fixed on Neves and APIs. So personally, I love Slate is affordable, but of course Waves, if you can afford their bundle, if you want to cherry pick their plugins, which Matt, I'm sure if he's listening, are you listening, Matt? We'll put up links to the Waves ones as well underneath, because they're doing a sale at the moment. You can buy those EQs like the API and the Neve style EQs, and you can boost them at those places. Again, once again, with Neve, it was 60, 110, 220 for the low. 60 was fantastic on a kick. And you can cut the 220 on a kick. Nice place to cut. You can boost the 110 on the bass. You'll notice, and then you can cut 110 on a kick. You can boost 220 on the low end of a guitar. And yes, you guessed it, you can boost, you can cut 220 out of the kick. It's a great starting place. Now, obviously, those aren't written in stone. Those aren't like, but you want things to fit together in a way like you're talking about. Shep's Omnichannel has those points as well. These are very musical places. He just put up the sales for that. Yeah, so, you know, these are... How often do I cut low mids? A lot of times I cut the low mids. Tons and tons of times. Okay, so we're going to do our first giveaway. The giveaway is going to be from yesterday's video. I don't know if you all saw yesterday's video. I'm going to go and check it out now. Obviously, you don't go over and watch it now, but if you go to yesterday's video, it says I'm not connected to the internet. I must be, because I'm talking, but I'm on a different computer. If you go to yesterday's video, it featured 3 videos. It features my mixing in a box video, which for all Academy members, if you're not a member of the Academy yet, you'll know that that comes free inside of the Academy. Every month we do multi-tracks. There's like 20 or 30 I think available for any Academy member who joins for yearly. But there's also a full-blown like 3-hour mix course in there where I mix a song from scratch in real time. And that's the one that you saw yesterday. That's me doing it. It's called, song's called Love Me, I'm Rich. I wrote it years ago about this petulant rock star that I met. And it's a song about him. And, you know, he was a guy that called me up and told me about his new Cadillac that he had bought that had a Ferrari design engine. I mean, he was just such a douche. It was unbelievable. So I wrote a song about him. Anyway, more information than you needed to know. And anyway, so if you're an Academy member, you've already got that song for free. But the other two are Galacticon, which is Brendan Smalls, and that song is mixed by Auric Wilde. And then the last one is the Mixing Punk Rock by Cameron Webb. These are both great friends and mentors to so many. They'll continue to do more stuff in the Academy and everywhere. So anyway, we're going to give away all 3 of those courses if you haven't already them. Guy from Kiss, Ace Frehley. Yes, I just finished his album. Ace Frehley's album. The single is out already. Who was it? No. Ace is super humble. Ace does not... yeah, virtual instruments don't drink all your beer like real drummers do. Anyway, so what we need you to do is we need you to say, what can we do to win this? Why don't you say in no, it wasn't G. None of the Kiss types. Do I still listen to Queen every single day? Why do I cut the low mids to create room for other instruments? Nearly every single instrument we record, even a tambourine, has low mids in it. It's one of the areas that gets built up. And the problem with low mids is they're big fat waveforms. And so it gets very cluttered very easily. Yes, Bronx Boy. I recently saw a video I'll say somewhat naively, talking about just do it on your master bus. That's something that you should not do. That's a last resort. If you're cutting your low mids on your master bus because there's too much build-up, it's something you should do on instruments across the board. 2,500 versus 160. I don't see your question. I'm going by too fast. Yutsav, it's best to say the question in the thing as opposed to say please answer, because I'd have to scroll back through hundreds. So just ask it again and I'll try to see it. Is there anything that lives in the low mids? Primarily, I mean, Hammond organs have a predominantly low mid area. Lots of pianos can be in that area. Guitars, bass, drums, everything has a build-up. You know, that's really what we're talking about there. You know, we have to be very, very aware of that kind of stuff. So, you know, ultimately, we've got a lot of build-up in the area. Okay, so Matt, what do you want? What's the question to win those 3? It's basically mixing in the box with Warren Huart, producing punk with Cameron Webb. I know, Matt, because I keep asking you what to say. Matt's texting me saying you drifted away from it. It's like, yeah, because what do you want us to say to win this? Okay, because it can't be the same for everybody, or else we get blocked by YouTube. Okay, so he's not responding. So he's telling us there's a problem, but he's not helping with it. It's okay. He's saying favorite kick drum mic. Okay, what is your favorite kick drum mic? And then put your name afterwards. So not just your screen name, but your name. Or I think everybody's. So okay, what is your favorite kick drum mic? So let us know your favorite kick drum mic, and we will pick somebody, and they will win win all 3 of those courses. And we're going to do 3 of these giveaways. Okay, so shelving or filtering. I mean, that's a big question. That's a big question. Downloaded your cheat sheet. How do I properly set up a mix bus or bass DI and amp tone? Auxiliary from track or wrote that. You route. Okay, so what you do with your bass guitar is you take if you only have a DI, so please give us your favorite kick drum mic, and you need to say that because Matt is going to choose one of you from that, and I'll answer the question in a second. Okay, so what we do is we take the bass DI. If you only have the bass DI, you duplicate the bass DI. With the duplicate, you can put an amp simulator on it, or what I do is I often use like a Sans amp or a decapitator or some kind of saturation. Personally, I prefer the Sans amp. It's free with Pro Tools. Then what I do is I distort it and edge it out. But I'll roll up to around about 200, high passing at about 200, so that it has, you know, some dirt and some grit and all this kind of stuff, but only that area. And then with the clean bass DI, our low pass, our low pass at 200. So they cross over here and keep that super, super clean. I will also put like an R bass or something possibly on that just to make it even. Those then are summed together. They're summed together to one auxiliary. And that auxiliary will then have the multiband on it, because what it's doing is there'll always be some low end still in the SansAmp channel. There'll still be some in there. You can't get rid of it entirely, and you don't want to. And then to about 250 hertz and below, I'll then compress it with a multiband compressor on the sum signal very aggressively, just evenly. Well, not necessarily aggressively, but evenly. Sometimes it's only about 1 or 2 dB. You can be aggressive if the performance is it really depends on the performance. If the performer is like playing really soft and getting lots of low end, then smacking into it and completely destroying the low end, you're going to want to do some more aggressive multiband compression. Anyway, so often, I've sometimes multiband compressed 2 or 3 times with an R bass in between. So, you know, I tend to favor the C4, but I do love Mac DSP compressors as well. Again, there's a link somewhere flying around with the Waves plugins on a deal at the moment. So if you want to try the C4, you can probably get it on a good price at the moment. I'm not entirely sure. But anyway, and I do love the R bass. I'm a big fan of it. So those two together do great stuff. Now, don't get me wrong, Mac DSP make a great multiband compressor. We're talking EQ points here. Obviously, you've heard me talk about the Waves V-Series, but also, of course, Slate also make great affordable if you have the monthly subscription. I like to use as many different things as possible. And, you know, a lot of professionals have the Waves as go-to, and we love them dearly. But it's not just about that. So basically, the reason why, I was asked this yesterday, the reason why I multiband compress the summed area is because even though the SansAmp has been low passed, it doesn't mean there isn't some super lows still in there. So you need to sum them together, then multiband compress them together. Okay. Carlos and lots of people are saying they prefer the C4. And apparently the C4 is actually on sale if you click the link below for only $29. Wow. C-Mart is saying, when do I low pass? I low pass the DI, the bass DI. I low pass guitars, electric guitars, easily about 10K and below. To me, I don't need 12K in my guitars. I just don't need it. The only thing that should be living up there is air on a vocal and cymbals for me. I don't need an electric guitar like super sizzly up here. Sometimes with some guitar parts, I'll actually low pass at 7K. Now I know all my friends that do metal keep the heavy guitars up to about 10K. So when you're doing metal, you might want to go higher. Okay, Matt, have you chosen somebody? Yes, he just did. Okay, great. Perfect. So now also for kick drums, if you watch the Bob Marlette, now that you've won that, the person that won that, you'll watch the Bob Marlette mixing course, and Bob actually uses multiple kick drums. We all do, but he has multiple ones, and some of them, and this is a good technique with metal, some of them he highs and low passes. So what he'll do is he'll take a super clicky kick, that's just a, and he'll get rid of all of the low end. So he'll put it in phase, but then he'll get rid of it, and then he'll take another kick, which is like like, and he'll do the opposite. He'll get rid of all of the high end. So you can low pass kick drums as well. You can low and high pass kick drums to create the perfect kick drum sound. So does that make sense? You can be aggressive. Now I know that there's I'll say disinformation video out there talking about don't take bass sounds. It was a really misguided video, which a lot of people watch, where he was talking about like don't EQ separate elements and then sum them together. Because look at the frequencies. That's just absolute crap. Total unadulterated BS. Every major mixer in the world, not people that have YouTube channels only, you know, but people that, you know, that mix and also have YouTube channels. I'm just being categorically very blunt on this, because this is really important. Don't look at waveforms. Listen to your music. The reason why Bob Marlette, who works with Airborne, Seether, Black Sabbath, you know, Tony Iommi, Ozzy Osbourne, you know, Pop Evil, the reason why a guy like that who's making current modern rock songs in the charts, the reason why he does that is because it sounds better. He'll take his 3 or 4 elements of a kick and EQ them completely independently of each other, then sum them together and EQ and compress them together because it sounds better. Now, does it look different? I don't know. Maybe it does. Or maybe when that misguided person created a video showing the waveforms. I don't care. And neither should you. Nobody is driving along in their car at the moment listening to a massive rock song going, I wonder what the waveforms look like. It's just not. That's one of the biggest problems with engineering for us now, is that we look to, we look to stuff. Yeah, and Chris is saying distortion is your friend with low end. Yes, it definitely can be. Yeah, and Airborne is an amazing band. For the Australians watching, they can tell you Airborne are an amazing band. And Bob Marlette's done their last, 3 albums? You should check it out. If you want to check out AC/DC kind of sounds, listen to Airborne and then get Bob's course, of which Matt is about to put below Bob's course. Anyway, so I'm here to tell you that it doesn't matter what the waveforms look like. It doesn't matter. What it matters is what it sounds like. And so if Bob Marlette takes kick drums and EQs them independently and then sums them together and gets an amazing kick drum sound, that is all that matters. It doesn't matter that somebody has a YouTube video showing you that the waveforms look slightly out of phase of each other. I don't care what they look like. It matters on what they sound like. That is a really important mantra. You have to use your ears and not your eyes. It's very difficult because things can look somewhat in phase, but they can sound bad. Listen to phase, really listen to it. Okay, Yutsav says, my bass guitar keeps coming and going in the mix, especially the low end on the bass guitar. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it falls apart. Please help. Follow all of the things that we talked about in yesterday's video. Go back and watch the mixing low end. You don't have to use this as extreme distortion as I do, but follow it. You'll notice how I split the signals. Yutsav, that's what you need to do. I'm reading it. Everything we're talking about is helping you. We are talking exactly. So go to yesterday's video, take heed of what we're talking about today, and follow those techniques. So that's the mixing low end. One man's feedback is another man's tone. Kicks and bass and separate sub-saturation bus. Yes, I would definitely always saturate things independently and then blend afterwards. That's why I think, sometimes I have 3 sources. I use a DI with Sans amp, and then a bass guitar independently. So I'll have a cleaner bass amp, and then I'll have a saturated, and sometimes I'll blend 3 things together. So I have a little less. So Matt's putting up mixing modern rock with Bob Marlette, so you'll know what we're talking about. Yeah, also consider automation. Yes, Delta Vista Studio, Yutsav is also talking about if you really, really can't control it with levels of multiband compression and compression as a whole. And remember, at the end of the chain, and Matt will put a link to it if he hasn't already, the MV2 is a godsend with bass guitar. It is a godsend because it will take the low-level signal and push it up, and the high-level signal and push it down. The MV2 is, I believe, my favorite plugin. Is that a big push? It is my favorite plugin. I absolutely love that plugin. I don't know if anybody else makes anything quite so one-stop as that plugin. Blobs don't matter. Yeah, the way things look doesn't matter. High pass on a mix bus. Yeah, I mean, if you want to get rid of 20 hertz, sure. But I would put it first. If you want to do that and you want to put high pass on your mix bus, you could do it. Put your 20 hertz at the beginning before you use EQ and compression. One of the tricks that I also do, yes, the MV2, +1 for MV2s. MV2, Nate Torrey saying is $29. Matt has a link underneath the video, and he'll even put one here. Actually, we can't link, but yeah, underneath the video. I wouldn't necessarily go as high as 29 or 32. I would let your mastering engineer do that, only because if you put it at the end, you might be suffering some stuff. What I would do with my master bus is put 20 hertz on it, and then any EQ and compression you do, might get more expansive. It's like I'll do that with bass guitars and toms often. I'll go up to 60 or 70 hertz and high pass before boosting EQ. I do that very often. I will high pass before a boost on anything. The reason is like I don't necessarily want a super sharp EQ, but it controls a boost. So if I boost 60 hertz on something, well, more importantly, let's say I go to a guitar and I boost 200 or 220 on the low mids. I might want to shelve it at 200 before it and then boost it afterwards, and that focuses the boost, especially if I'm using very, very wide bell EQs like Pultecs. If I'm using a Pultec, whether it be a real one like I have over there, or a plug-in one, like the Jack Joseph Puig one's kind of cool. You know, if I'm doing any of those, if I'm doing like a boost, it's nice to control it going in. Because if I boost at 60 hertz on something, or even 200 hertz on something, on a Pultec, it's also pulling up a lot of unwanted low end that I don't want. So I'll focus it. You know, and not before, because I don't mind some of it. I don't mind some of the fallout of pulling up a bit of 20 or 40 or 60. I want it to be musical, but I will, there you go, he's put the MV2 up there. So, but what I'll do is I will focus the low end. So I'll control what goes into a boost. Very, very good tool. Remember, that's why you see a lot of professionals with 3 or 4 EQs and compressors going on stuff, but they're not doing very much because they're controlling the process. Does that make sense? It's like de-essing and EQing things. I will de-ess a vocal, even though we're not talking about vocals, I'll quickly explain why. And I'll boost the high end going into a de-esser. The de-esser controls the excessive boost, but smooths out the rest of it. So it makes everything feel more area and broader, but it will stop that really excessive brittleness. These are very, very good tricks. So don't be afraid to EQ using a really good high pass before maybe using something like a Pultec and boosting. Does that make sense? All right, let's do another giveaway. Another giveaway, our second giveaway. Now remember, the giveaway is for my Mixing in a Box course, which is actually available for free for all Academy members. If you're already an Academy member, you get it for free. It's a real-time mixing course, so you get to see me open it up in real time and make decisions. People love this course because it specifically shows you what it's like when you open up a session you've not mixed before. You'll really enjoy it. Anyway. It's also got the Bob Marlette one we were talking about. Now, the thing about Bob Marlette that we love is he's not afraid to take different elements of a kick drum and EQ them independently and then sum them together. And then last but no means least is Auric Wild with the Galacticon, which is Brendan Small from Metal Apocalypse. And it's his course, which is pretty fantastic. So you get to win it. So why don't you tell me, what is your favorite bass guitar to record? What is your favorite bass guitar to record? What is better, MIDI drum pad or MIDI piano for beat making? I mean, I would say the drums. What is the Academy? We have the Produce Like a Pro Academy. And if you go to producelikeapro.com, you can sign up for a year, or you can do monthly. If you sign up for a year, you'll get like 20 or 30 multi-tracks immediately. So please tell us, what is your favorite bass guitar to record? What is your favorite bass guitar to record? Fender Precision, P-Bass, Stingrays, Washburn. When you're a member, you can go to a page that says discount and you can buy Lewitt microphones at an educational price. Sometimes it's massive discount. There should be. Matt, can you please tell them that there is a... It doesn't matter if you don't have a bass. Just tell us what's your favorite bass you've ever recorded, or even what's your favorite sounding bass. Mine has always been a BB, Yamaha BB, because of... Anybody know? I'll get my BB out and show you. Because of this bass sound. This is why I have a BB. Anybody know what that is? Anyway, love will tear us apart. It's Joy Division. When I was a kid, I heard Joy Division. Like I was a Queen fan and Zeppelin, and I got totally into prog. But then I heard Joy Division, and I heard that, and I was like, this bass line being played with open strings, and it was a BB. I think it was a BB 1200S. So that's why I like BB basses. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a down 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 down. That's the sound of a precision. And when you listen to the first two Pretenders records in particular, you're hearing some of the best bass sounds ever. And there's something about a precision which is phenomenal. I also, we talk about bass guitars, have a jazz bass, but this is a secret weapon. This is a PVT-40, and it's a big reason why I'm a fan of PV, the company. It weighs an absolute ton. It's made like a brick, you know what. It is so well made. This is from the late 70s. It sounds phenomenal. PVT-40. I picked this up for about $200 or $300. They're getting a little bit more expensive because we've been talking about it. But if you want a bass that is going to sound massive in your track with loads of bottom end and is totally affordable, this to me is like this should be worth $2,000 because it's a huge piece of wood. It sounds phenomenal. I don't know about playing live, it weighs so much. But this is a secret weapon. And I've told a lot of people about it. And a lot of my friends that you know, producers and engineers and songwriters in particular, and film composers, everybody I know, not everybody, but nearly everybody has got into it and realized that the PVT-40 is a signature sounding bass. It can be invisible in the track. It just has this big low end. It just sounds like a big fat low end. And when you just want a bass guitar to just fit in the track, it's the way to go. Oh, okay. Okay, so yeah, exactly, Mark says. So the tone, a Sledgehammer is one of the best bass sounds ever. The thing, and we can't play, by the way, we can't play any more samples of songs anymore like we did last time, because I played some songs and then we got hit with a copyright strike because we were playing people's songs. God bless, what is it, UMG that we're all flying about? PV make great bass amps as well. You have to be, Walter, you have to be a member of Produce Like a Pro Academy. There you go. Martin won. Congratulations, Martin. So you have to be a member of the Produce Like a Pro Academy because it's an educational discount. So you join the Academy. Basically, if you join the Academy and bought like 3 or 4 mics, you'll immediately get all your money back from joining the Academy. And you'll get like 20, just join it for a year. You'll also get 20 or probably 30 multi-tracks. You'll get an amazing forum. You'll get some of the best people in the business talking to you. It's really, really wonderful. It's absolutely amazing. We're going to do a drum session, percussion session today with Dave Allen, for anybody that know. Okay, so let's get back to bass and drums, bass and low-end recording. Martin, congratulations. That's nice to see you win because you've always produced. It's great to see some of our regular people who are always on here giving us amazing stuff. Oh, by the way, could you please like and share? Because, you know, if you like and share, it helps YouTube tell the world that we're on. How much gate do I use on kick drums? Well, so please like and share. I see we have 427 people on. Thank you ever so much. But we only have 144 likes. So if we can get that up to 427, that would be absolutely amazing. So please like and share. That would be amazing. If you can like, that would be amazing. Okay, so only because that's the only way the YouTube's algorithm, when you like and share it, the YouTube algorithm goes, hey, Warren's live. Oh, God bless the algorithm. Okay, here's a good question. Dum 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 dum. Dave Allen, no, Dave Allen, yeah. That's funny because he's also Australian. So we know Dave Allen was one of the funniest comedians ever. And because Dave Allen's Australian, he watched all the British TV and he knew exactly who Dave Allen was. Yeah, he was hilarious. How can you eliminate amp buzz after recording? I mean, there's a few. Isotope makes something. There's the denoise. What is it you use? The Waves one? What's it called? Eric? All right, he's disappeared. Blah, blah, blah. Do I EQ or doing the AQ during recording or after the box? Personally, when it comes to drums, when I know the room and I know the drummer, I will apply EQ. However, I don't do that much. I tend to do 57s at an angle on the snare. Yeah, definitely pointing down like this underneath, like that, top, bottom. But make sure they're both pointing, you know, to the same area of the snare, so it's hitting there in the middle, so the phase is good. What were we talking about? Blah blah blah. Oh, we're talking about EQing. Low end sounds boomy while mixing the box, but thin when I render it. That's pretty bad. What DAW are you using? That's not good. If you're getting that, that's a problem with a DAW if that's really happening. Waves NS1, thank you. Yeah, Waves NS1 is what we use for debuzzing. Yeah, it's called NS1. We just had somebody there. Again, Matt can post links to all of that stuff. What do you do if the odd bass note is too loud or too quiet? Well, Gavin, if you've done all the things I'm talking about with the multiband compressor and stuff and bass boost, you shouldn't have that problem. However, if you're still having that problem, I'll get you in a minute, Gringo. I saw that definitely. If you're still having that problem, then yes, as somebody else was pointing out, just no, I don't use Alphaxis. I'm straight on. I just tend to choose where I want on the speaker, where I want it. I'm usually splitting the dust cap and the cone, and if I want it to be brighter, I move it towards the dust cap. You know, sometimes, you know, when I'm double miking, I'll follow the curvature of the speaker. So if the cone is like this, I'll take the 57 on a guitar amp, and I'll take a 57 and I'll go with the cone. But when you're talking about the dust cap, remember that's kind of pointing forward. So where do we get? Oh, EQ, yeah. So with drums and with bass, with the bass amp, it has to be EQ to sound good before you mic it. With a kick drum, I will definitely boost the 60 hertz going in, and I might do a little bit of low end boost on a snare. I might do some high passing, but I tend on the overheads, but I tend to use the microphone's high passing, not the EQ on the console. If I don't need to EQ, then I won't. So that's the great thing about using mics to have high passing. If they've got 100 hertz high pass on overheads, use it. You don't need the 60 hertz from the kick in your overheads. You don't need it. So it's about stuff like that. Same thing with the hi-hats. Why would I might as well high pass my hi-hat mic. This is something that Shelly Yackers talks about. And if you listen to like Damn the Torpedoes, one of the best sounding records ever, he talked about high passing on his microphones all the time. So he's creating a lot of the sound. He's getting rid of a lot of the low rumble and all this kind of stuff. High passing is your friend when done properly. I know there's terrible disinformation out there about high passing, but high passing actually creates more room for low end and actually makes you sound better. Somebody in that video, anti-high passing one, also said if you can't hear it, it's not a problem. Well, the problem is like as soon as you get into a mastering room or play your music through a big powerful PA and you've got loads of low end rumble, you know, from like 200 hertz and below that doesn't need to be there, that's a horrible situation. And you'll get your mixes to sound louder and clearer if you high pass properly. So remember, high passing is, how much can I bench? Not a lot. That's not particularly muscular there. I'm just a skinny little musician guy. So I'm not going to be able to bench too much, but thanks for asking. You caught a live stream. Yes, you did, Adam. Any tips on mixing synth basses with drums? Some tips would be appreciated. Okay, good. So we've been talking all about organic instruments and recording with the microphones, but let's get a little bit into EDM and like hip hop genres, because that's very, very important. The thing about EDM and hip hop is when you're using virtual instruments and you're using things like synth, you know, virtual synths and all this kind of stuff, you're talking about incredibly controlled instruments. So you can get really, really creative. It gives you, yeah, I'm lean but no muscles. Just enough to, just enough to pick up my kids and help with the groceries. That's about it. Anyway, so with EDM stuff, remember when you're dealing with like a big fat synth, you can get super, super creative. You can sit there and say, well, okay, my kick drum, doc, doc, doc. You can say, I don't want my kick drum to have super, super lows. The synth might be playing continuously and is your low end. If your synth is going down to 20 or 40 hertz and you deliberately want it to blow up people's PAs, you may want that deliberately, you know what I mean? That huge low end. You can carve out an area for your kick drum and literally pull out a section. You could say, I want 80 to 150 to only be boom, boom, boom of a kick drum. You can take your synth and you can remove it. But not only can you remove it, you can remove it dynamically. So what does that mean? It means that you can set a side chain compressor. So every single time a kick drum hits, it triggers a multi-band or dynamic EQ. Beautiful way of doing it. So here we have a big synthesizer going, big synth bass, and every time a kick drum hits, it takes about 3 dB, sucks out of the synth bass. It's a wonderful trick. But also you can do the opposite. You can do the opposite. You can say, okay, I've got my kick and my bass working together, but my kick drum is 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 hertz, but predominantly in the 60. So your kick drum can be going like this. And every time it hits, you guessed it, it's now ducking, you know, the opposite way around. I could say, I want my bass to always be favoring over the kick. It really depends on the line. If you've got, what I'm saying, sorry, just to really clarify, if I've got long legato bass parts, they're going to be different to if I have got very percussive bass parts, because I don't want my bass part to be coming in and out and only occasionally playing and affecting my kick. You have to decide what do you want to be continuous and what do you want it to affect. The Waves F6 is fab for this. There you go. There's a big tip. No, I keep the PV all about. I keep the PV with the strings are fairly dead. There you go. See, more hair discussion, hair compression technique. Woo! Let's talk about my hair. I wouldn't know. I don't use the 650s or the R70s. I know there was somebody did a video recently who was had an affiliate sales with Sennheiser, so they were pushing it. I'm sure Sennheiser are great, but I don't have any affiliate. I don't have any affiliate sales with them, so I don't really need to push any particular headphones. I will tell you, I use the Biodynamics and the Blues predominantly now. We had an issue with our ultrasound. We had an issue with them, so we don't use them anymore because we need reliable headphones. So we're pushing. The ones that I use, that I push, are what I love. They're not cheap. They're the Biodynamics, the DT1990s, but we are absolutely loving the Blue headphones and using those every day. And I'm loving them because Cameron Webb uses them and Dave Pensado and Bob Horn and all these guys are pushing these headphones because they love them. So, I can't speak about things I don't use. I'm not going to say the Sennheiser are not good. I can only... Hair today, gone tomorrow, thank you. You know how I am. I tend to use something, fall in love with it, and then talk about it. I don't, you know what I mean? I can't do that thing where I go, new product sponsored, buy these picks, they're amazing. It's just not me. I've been using Wave plugins since like 96, and I've been using Mac DSP plugins since 98. They're about their 20th anniversary. So, you've already received the prizes? Great, Martin. So, that's the world I live in. Look, the great Dave Allen has arrived. You want to come on camera? I said Dave Allen, and somebody said, isn't he dead? He was very funny.
So funny. Nice.
Look, come in.
Hey there.
This is the wonderful Dave Allen, drummer
Nice
extraordinaire.
to see everyone.
We're about to start a session, and we're going to be doing Dustin Thomas. Shout out to Dustin Thomas, those of you who don't know him. And we're going to be recording some more drums and some more percussion. Dave Allen, how old were you when you played with Jeff Berlin?
Oh, wow, good memory. I was 24.
24.
Yeah, one of my first gigs here. Yeah.
Because tell us about that. Come on, talk about drummers. What would it be? What was it like being 24 years old and playing with Jeff Berlin? We're talking drums and bass, so this is
Actually, yeah,
duck down a little bit.
great bass player, Jeff Berlin. And it was
That's
actually,
an understatement.
yeah, actually my first gig when I arrived in LA was I think in the mid-90s. And I'd just come from Australia, and he asked me if I wanted to go on tour to New Zealand. So my first touring gig was to
back,
New
almost
Zealand, all
back
the way back.
But how did you get the gig with Jeff Berlin?
It was a couple of recommendations, and then I went and just auditioned. I think Spain was one of the songs that we played, and a couple of his originals. And he said, "Let's do it." So
At 24.
24, yeah. So it was.
That's
I
insane.
was on cloud 9 back in the day.
Do you have any tapes of any of those shows?
I don't.
Oh.
I wish. I'm sure there's something somewhere, but I don't have any.
Oh. Yusuf wants to live stream the session. What we do is we'll live stream a little bit on Facebook. We did some bass yesterday with Brian Lang. We'll do some drums. More Aussies. There's lots of Aussies saying hello, fellow Aussie.
Yes.
Okay, so who's my favourite bass player of all time? I have several. Jaco Pastorius, of course, is going to be one. I'm a huge, I'm a huge Peter Hook fan. I like guys that have a sound that you like. Jaco, everybody plays like Jaco now, but when he came out, that was Jaco. You know, so Jaco Pastorius, unbelievable. Peter Hook, defining bass player. You know, it's guys like that. John Entwistle, you know, those are the guys I love. And of course, James Jamerson, unbelievable. You know, watch Cameron's video, Michael, and you'll get an idea. Poor treatment is supposed to sound like that. I'm not sure what you mean. I think you're just trolling me. You said it like 15 times. What we've got here is we've got like a little camera mic up here, and you're just being a dick. You know, this room's really well treated and done properly, but you know, posting the same comment 15 times, you know, Geezer Butler is amazing. We have a little tiny camera mic up here, and this room's really well treated. We've had it wrung out. If you've ever watched any of my videos, we'll see we talk about this all the time, but I know there's always going to be somebody that just wants to be that person, you know. Can we just block that person, please, Matt? You know, these are the experts. Like, we have a little tiny Logitech camera here with a microphone in it, you know, and you know, it's just the way it is. It's like, this room is like, you know, we mixed albums that debuted at #1 in here, you know, but there's always an expert who will tell me I'm wrong. It's pretty funny. This is the biggest sort of problem with what we do is like there's always people trying to assert themselves as being superior, and it's like, that's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to break down those barriers and realize it's like, you know, all you need is a passion for music. Be passionate for this, you know, and just really, really, you know, get into this. So, okay, so one last thing then. We're going to do one more giveaway for everybody. Please stay on for the last giveaway. Can you like and share? So this is going to be part of your giveaway. Like and share, and tell me, who is your favorite bass player? I am laughing, it's okay. But when somebody posts the same thing 15 times, hello Anita, how are you all? Who is your favorite bass player? Last giveaway. So 3 courses. It is my mixing in a box. It is, which streams already for free inside of the Academy for Academy members. If you want to join the Academy, you get deals on Lewitt microphones with massive discounts. And then Bob Marlette's course, which is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, he's one of the best rock producers, engineers, and mixers out there. I think it's, I do clinic sessions. I do quite a lot of them. And then the last one is Galacticon, Brendan Small, mixed by Auric Wild. Check them all out. Oh, I don't. I try not to pay attention to those guys. But I just think it's important because it's a good talking point to talk about why we do this. We do this because we're all about helping people, you know. We're all about you know, bringing people together. And the people that aren't into do that, or the people doing those disinformation videos, are just there to try and get to be, you know, more experts alert. Yes, the experts. Thank you. I'm just like you guys. Honestly, I'm just making records. And, you know, so who's your favorite bass players? Oh, Colin Moulding, Jesse. Nice one. Billy Shan, I worked with him, he's amazing. Victor Wooten, amazing. Billy Cox, amazing. Paul McCartney, Melody, through the bun. No experts here. Exactly, no experts. We don't have the experts. Spanky is my favorite bass player. I don't know who that is. I probably should. Or maybe a joke. Jane Jameson. Oh, yeah. Robert DeLeo is really great. Can I tell you something? So in my old studio, I was walking down the corridor one day, and the DeLeo brothers were auditioning a drummer, and they were doing Zeppelin covers. And it was, see my hair standing on end? I thought that Jimmy Page, John Paul Jones, and John Bonham were in the room. It was freaking amazing. Those guys, those two brothers, are insane. It was the closest sounding I have ever heard to any Zeppelin in my life. I mean, those two guys are amazing. Sting, great one. All right, we're running out of time. Please like and share. Please like and share and tell me who's your favorite bass player. And I'm checking here. How many likes and shares do we get? 387 people watching. Did you like and share? Only 280 likes. Please like and share and tell me who's... Stu Ham's great. I love Greta Van Fleet. I prefer Zeppelin more, but I love what they're doing. I'd rather do it. 387 people watching. Please like and share. You all rock. This has been absolutely wonderful. Check out yesterday's video, but most importantly, download Tisbonus One. That's wonderful. Another regular follower. That's fantastic. Tony Levin, unbeatable. Geddy Lee, amazing. Yeah. So please check out the cheat sheet. So the cheat sheet should be downloadable around here if you haven't already downloaded it. Watch yesterday's video, which should also be listed underneath, and you'll see a little bit more about low end. After the video's finished, please, once YouTube gets their snizzle together and post-load it, please leave a bunch of comments and questions. Keep this discussion going. Thank you. Canadian Elvis, if only I was Canadian. I'm pretty English, but thank you. Les Claypool, Chris Squire, amazing. One last question. High boost mids in bass guitar. Absolutely. Absolutely. We're going to do more stuff on this topic. We have another one at 11 a.m. on Thursday this week. So let's talk more about it then. All right. Have a marvelous time recording and mixing. I think any minute now, Eric's going to come over here and be ready to stop it. Have a marvelous time recording and mixing. Please download the cheat sheet. Please like and share. You guys rock. If you haven't already checked out the Academy, there's also some deal on some of the Waves plugins. They're doing a deal for us, so go and check that out. Have a marvelous time recording and mixing, and I'll see you all again very soon.